What is going on, my people? I just want to jump on here while I'm having a drive and chat to you guys about something now I'll speak about a bit, and something that a lot of people, I guess, are hesitant to do and are scared to do. And honestly, it's like the biggest reason people will stay stuck. And it's the biggest thing that separates, I guess, people who make it and people who will always say, one day I'm going to make it, but never actually do. And that is embracing uncomfortability, the comfort you find in chasing discomfort. So I speak to you guys every day in the DMs, and the biggest thing I see all the time, or even like when I jump on calls with you guys, or you jump on calls with my team, and push comes to shove, you've got these big amazing goals, you tell me how bad you want it, how much you hate the situation you're in, and then when push comes to shove to get uncomfortable, potentially take a risk, invest in yourself, or just start to chase a new version of yourself, whether it's even just locking in or putting a few extra hours in overnight, or maybe you're scared of what your parents might say. You just, like, people just completely go ghost and run off, and that's, I'll never hear from them again. And it's just like, people are so scared to get uncomfortable, and I get it. I was there this time last year, but that is what's keeping you stuck. You're constantly comfortable. Like when I was working full time, making $1,000 a week, although it was fucking shit, I was comfortable. I knew how much money I'd make every week. I could pay the bills every week. I could pay for my food every week, and I could put a bit into savings every week. But realistically, like, where's that going to get you if you're not taking risks and you're not getting uncomfortable? And I see it all the time, bro. All the time when push, like, you got these big amazing goals. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. And then it comes to taking a risk. It comes to getting uncomfortable. And it's just like, nah, I'm just gonna stay comfortable. And until you actually like look at it for what it is, a lot of people, they don't even realize that it's just the fear of getting uncomfortable, and that's actually what's kept you in the position you're in for so long now. So when something happens, when you look back in a month's time and you're still in a shit position that you hate, you need to actually like reflect on why that is. And it's simply because you're still living by the same habits that has led you to this point. I was speaking on this in another video, that every decision that you have made up until this point that has made you not make enough money, not have enough freedom, not be able to spend enough time with family, whatever it is for you, every decision that you've made up until this point, everything that you've lived by has led you here now. So if something doesn't change, there's a saying that goes, you can't keep doing the same stuff and expect a different outcome. It doesn't make sense. So, when it comes to getting uncomfortable, one of the biggest things I've said to one of my boys, John, who is absolutely killing it, probably one of the biggest killers that I've had, that I've trained up, especially the biggest thing we started with was mindset. And now, he's out there making $10,000 a month. We've got an interview if you want to watch that. But the biggest thing he preaches now, to all the people I'm trying to help out, is the best thing you can do is become comfortable with discomfort. So an example from my experience was, obviously initially when I was looking into making money online, I wasn't willing to spend any money on myself. I wasn't willing to invest into a mentor or anything like that for months. I could do it all myself, yada yada. It doesn't make sense. Some people can get there by themselves, but will it be long term? Probably not. But 9 times out of 10, if you're not getting trained up by someone who hasn't been there and done it themselves, isn't living the life you want to live, then it is going to be very hard. And I didn't recognize that for a while. And then even when it came to it, when I started looking into mentors and stuff like that, I invested a lot of money into a lot of bullshit, because there is a lot of bullshit out there. Spent over $20,000 on different courses and things like that. And then that's when I, actually decided, course isn't going to get me fucking anywhere. I need a mentor. I need guidance every single day. So that's when I came across my current mentors. And even when it came to that, like, I knew that's what I needed to get to my goals, but I almost didn't go ahead with it because I'd already lost so much money. And I wasn't, looking back on it now, it was just that getting uncomfortable feeling that I had, that sick feeling you get in your stomach before you're about to do something that could go really, really good or really, really bad. And that's the feeling I had, and I almost gave into it. But I remember in the moment, it was just like a split second thing where it's like, wait, this sick feeling, this is good. This means something. This means I'm going to push. This means, this isn't a normal feeling, meaning I'm not going to get a normal result like everyone else. So I remember, feeling that feeling in my stomach, And it was like a light bulb moment. It was like, you know, I can either look back at this moment, you know, when I was you know, going to go ahead with my current mentors and be, you know, regret it and just always wonder what if, or I can go ahead with it, give it my all and go from there. And obviously it's worked out, and hindsight's a great thing. But even now, you know, something I've realized over the last few months is, you know, you don't just get uncomfortable once. It's not just getting started. It's not just putting yourself out there for the first time. It's not just investing money. In order to grow, you know, I'm almost a fiend for that feeling in my stomach now, because I know at the end of that discomfort is the growth. So, you know, all the time now, I'm like, you know, how can I fucking risk it all, get that fucking disgusting feeling in my stomach so I can lock in and, you know, have that growth on the other side of it. Because every single time, bro, that I've got uncomfortable, disgustingly uncomfortable, although for the first few weeks it's been really hard because it's, you know, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Have I just fucked my life up? In the long run, you know, 2 or 3 months past that point, I've looked back and been like, that's what it takes. That is what it takes. So a few examples would be, you know, the first time, you know, when I initially invested into my mentors, pretty much dumped the rest of my savings into it that was meant to go to a house. Disgustingly uncomfortable. But on the other side of that was when I made my first bit of money 3 months later, and then replaced my income and quit my job. So I remember, you know, that happening. I made my first bit of money, I replaced my income, and, you know, looking back over the last 3 or 4 months, that risk was worth it. That getting uncomfortable on the other side of that was the growth, replacing my income for the first time. Now, I remember after replacing my weekly income for the first time, $1,000 a week, the next week I made like $200. And I was like, holy fuck, like, you know, I haven't made it yet. Like, you know, although I was buzzing last week, I replaced my income for the first time, I've still got so far to go. So I remember acknowledging that because I'd made $1,000 a week as a chippy and then $1,000 a week online. I got comfortable again. So I was comfortable. I was like, yep, this is awesome. Like, you know, $2,000 in a week. I've never done that before. But I got comfortable again. And that feeling of being comfortable, being a fucking loser, being, you know, just happy with, content with where I was. I knew that if I continued having that feeling, I'd end up back where I was. You know, I wouldn't actually have that growth that I was after. So I remember that weekend, once it was Saturday, I was just sitting there. I woke up on a Saturday morning, doing a bit of work, comfortable. I realized it. I'm like, fuck it. 2 months from now, I'm going to book in a 1 month trip to, or a one-way flight to Bali. I'm going to get a villa for a month. I'm going to book it one way. I have to be out of my job by then comfortably. And I remember I was sitting there like about to pay a few times. I'm like, no. Because, like, you know, if I do this, there's no plan B. You know, what the fuck? What am I going to do if I'm not making money by then? I've got a one-way flight. I might not be able to get home. So I remember that and I was like, no, this is the feeling. This is like yuck. Having those feelings again. And then from there, I booked it, and little did I know that within a month I was out of my job. So once again, on the other side of that disgusting feeling, I was out of my job within a month. I'd hit a 20K month the very next month, which is fucking crazy to me. But I hit a 20K month the very next month, and I actually traveled to Thailand for the month before I went to Bali. So, you know, just like that, within a month, I'd gone from making $1,000 and $200 in a week to then making $20,000 the next month and quitting my job. Uncomfortable. Now, the next time, in regards to, like, you know, the journey, the next time I got disgustingly uncomfortable was actually quitting my job. So I'd made $10,000 in a week. I'd made $5,000 in a week. I had around a month left in my apprenticeship, and, you know, I was burning the candle at both ends. I was staying up late, you know, I was working 10 hours a day, and it was getting pretty fucked. And I remember just thinking, like, I can't keep doing both. Like, I was almost about to quit the make money online stuff and just be a chippy fairy. I was like, no, what the fuck am I doing? I think I had a big weekend the week before or something, sort of celebrating, I guess, making my first 15K month. And then, you know, just getting crazy head noise and shit. And I just remember going, fuck, you know, I'm comfortable again. I went out on the piss for the first time in months because I'd made $15,000, like, ridiculous. Making your first $15,000 a month after being on $600 a week as a first year apprentice, all the way up to $1,000 a week as a fourth year. Then making $15,000, like, yeah, I was fucking most comfortable I've ever been, mate. And then from there, I realized that feeling again. I'm like, why am I still working? Like, why am I still working this job? Like, yeah, you know, getting qualified would be good, and all, like everyone wanted me to get qualified. But that was me being comfortable. Say I got qualified, then quit my job. What was going to keep me pushing? I had a plan B. So I, once again, realized that feeling of comfortability, realized it, embraced it. Well, not embraced it, but then took the risk to quit my job with a few weeks left in my apprenticeship and embraced that feeling of uncomfortability. Like, holy fuck, if this doesn't work out, I'm working for the rest. Like, I don't have a plan. Like, what do I do? You know, I've just worked 3 years and 11 months for this apprenticeship and I've just quit. Completely burnt the boast. Most probably, bro, that was uncomfortable as fuck. But, you know, I once again recognized, like, in order for me to take it to that next level, you know, although I've hit my first 20K month, I can finish the apprenticeship, maybe make a bit more money, but what's going to keep me pushing when, you know, the money, I just felt the money would dry up and I'd be back at a job within 6 months. Whereas if I quit with a few months left in my apprenticeship, no plan B, I got nothing to fall back on. I've got to keep consistent. I've got to be even hungrier than ever. So that's when I quit my job. And off the back of that is where life truly started to change. You know, I was in Thailand a few weeks later. I was in Bali. I was in Dubai. You know, I was traveling the world. I was scaling to $30,000-$40,000 a month. And I attribute that to just getting uncomfortable. So they're like experiences from my journey, and that's, you know, really what it takes. And a lot of people aren't even willing to take the first risk to invest into themselves when it's just that, like, it's an investment. Although, you know, I lost $20,000, I've made almost $200,000 the last 12 months. So, you know, was that worth it? $180,000 profit? 100%. So although it's scary as fuck, it's, you know, you get that disgusting sick feeling in your stomach. If I'm being honest, like, you know, a lot of people just don't even realize that's what they're scared of, and it's just that uncomfortability. And at the end of that uncomfortability is where the growth that all you guys are after will happen. You know, reaching that first 10K month, reaching that first 20K month, you know, replacing your income, leaving your job, traveling the world, like giving back to your family. All those things that you want aren't going to happen from a place of comfort, or else everyone would have it. So for you guys watching this, it's time to pick up your balls and just start to get uncomfortable. Just start to get uncomfortable. What have you got to lose? Or you can stay in your comfort zone and stay the same. Like, there's really only two options. You either stay comfortable and stay the same, or you embrace that discomfort and enjoy the growth that comes on the end of that discomfort. So that's my game for the day. And I wanted to jump on here and talk about it because, you know, it's something I see so commonly doing what I do is, like, you know, I try and point you guys in the right direction, try to give you the best advice to my ability, when really there is no secret. You just have to learn from someone who's doing better than you, learn from someone who has the skills you need, learn from someone who's done it for other people. And obviously with that, like, to learn from someone who's made millions and millions of dollars, their time isn't just going to be free. Their time is extremely valuable. Like, if you look at it from a 9 to 5 perspective, their time is thousands of dollars every hour. So, you know, obviously it's not going to come for free, or else everyone would do it. And it doesn't make sense for them to lend their time and expertise for free. So if money's, like, you know, if you're scared that you're going to lose money or something like that, that's really just coming from a place of discomfort. So once you recognize that and realize that's really what's keeping you broke, like, although, you know, the biggest thing holding a lot of people back is spending money to invest themselves, that's what's actually keeping you broke. You're not willing to actually invest into leveling up your skill sets and things of that nature. So biggest piece of advice I could give is, when that sick feeling comes in your stomach, embrace that shit, because just know on the other side of that uncomfortability is the growth that you're after. And yeah, I've seen it time and time again in different I guess, assets over the last 12 months of my life. You know, I remember my income started to drop off a bit in January. I think I only made 20K for the month. I might have even been like 15K for the month in January. And I was like, holy fuck, I got comfortable making 40K a month. I need to take another risk. And although it was a bit of a fucking retarded risk, I ended up dropping $13,000 on a one-way flight back from Dubai, which was pretty much my monthly income. Off the back of that, I made $40,000 the next month because I had to make that shit work, or else, you know, my savings were going like, fuck, could have been back at work. But I made $40,000 next month just because that was at the, you know, spending $13,000 on a flight. Ridiculous, bro. But that's what it's what I needed to get uncomfortable again, because I became comfortable. I became comfortable with the situation I was in, getting to travel, getting to make 15, 20K a month, and I wanted to continue to grow. So it's my biggest piece of advice. Become okay with being uncomfortable. Embrace that shit, because that's where the growth that you guys are looking for is. So any questions, leave them down below. Like, subscribe, message me on Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram down below. If you want to jump on a call with my team, I'll leave a link down below, only if you're serious. And I'll also leave a link down below for my 4-hour-long free course breaking down more the skill set side of things. Obviously, this is mindset, but if the skill sets don't even fucking matter at all if you're not willing to take the risk to even invest into yourself to those skill sets. So with that, I'll leave you boys to it. I appreciate the time. I hope it was of value. Let me know what you thought down below. Any questions, DM me on Instagram. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.